and we got the 160s legalized on land. Changed raccoon trap. Over. This is probably one of my primary raccoon sets right there, is that bucket. I've got those triggers bent back, he goes in, it's gonna hit him right here, suitcase him every time. What I use in this bucket is dried cat food and fish oil. I just mix the two together, throw a spoonful in the back of the bucket. I use these long rods. They go through the bucket. This is what stabilize it. Where I'm at, you guys in desert, you can get by with these longer rods because you can shove them down a good way. But what I'll do is I'll put that through here. And if I'm near the water, I'll catch otter in these also. They'll come in there for the fish oil and the cat food, just same as the raccoons will. So you will catch some otter in it. But around a deer feeder or something like that, man, you can wear the coons out in these buckets. You can put 5 buckets, come back, and a lot of times you'll have 5 coons. I'm sure y'all seen some of the pictures on the internet, you know, deer feeder, and there'll be 25, 30 coons on that deer feeder. You can fit them out in a hurry with these. Now, here's the thing. About the 3rd night, you'll quit catching. They done got smart. They seen all their buddies get caught, and they done got smart. Then, come in here and set some of these. And these I use dry cat food, or I use marshmallows. The little key lime pie ones that are fixing to come out. Boy, them raccoons love them key lime pies. Boy, they'll wear them key lime pies out. But you can do a couple different things with these. If you're in a more woods area, I'd put a golf ball on top of it. You got a lot of mice in the area, put a golf ball on top of it. The mice can't get in there, but the coon, he'll move the golf ball and get in there and get the bait. If you're trapping right around a deer feeder or along the water's edge, I'll put my dried cat food in there, and I'll take a big fluffy marshmallow and set it right on top with a stick to it so it can't fall down in there, and I'll just leave it set right there. And that coon will come by, he'll see that big fluffy marshmallow, he eats it. Well, hey, there's some more in there I can eat, and he'll reach in and get it. Now this one is a Duke. It's got a pull type trigger, which means that raccoon's got to reach in there and physically pull up on that trigger. Okay? This one is a Z-trap, which means that raccoon, if he pulls or pushes, it don't matter, it's going to go off. I use a few of these, but I don't particularly care for them. I'd rather have the pull type trigger. 2 reasons I'd rather have the pull type trigger. If you look at that trigger right there, it's got a T in it. So if he reaches in there anyway, he's gonna get caught. This one, just a rod in there. But what I can do with that rod there, I can take a big old strawberry flavored marshmallow and shove it down in there on that rod, on that trigger, and do that right there with it and set it. So now he's got to reach in to get that marshmallow and pull it out. When he does, he's a caught coon. And a lot of times you'll have him by both front feet in there. It'll be just like that. Now, the anchoring system for these traps, I was showing them earlier. I'll use the disposable stakes. I'm sure y'all were at, what class were y'all doing before this one?
Predator.
Predator. Did they use a disposable?
We use the earth anchor.
Earth anchor, yeah, this right here. Yeah. So I use these earth anchors. If I'm away where there's like out here, I use an earth anchor. Where if I was over by these trees, I would use this setup right here. And the reason I like this setup, if you're around deer feeders in the woods and stuff, is I can, that's what I was setting tool up there at the truck, that's okay. I can take this, it's a real simple setup, just 1/8" cable. I just wrap it around a tree. So pretend that's a tree. I just wrap it around a tree. Pour some cat food in it, set a marshmallow, put fish oil, one way or the other. If I want to, I can put a little of this lure here, right on the lip of it. Smell it. It's cherry. It smells just like cherries.
He got it with the skunk.
This
earlier.
isn't skunk, this is cherry. I kid you not.
It's sweet.
Don't stick your tongue in it, but smell it. It's
like
a
a
real
cherry.
sweet smell.
Smells like cherries. Smell it.
Somebody else will smell
The
it.
other one's berry. It smells just like cherries. I mean, that's what it smells like. It smells like cherries.
Coon, the sweeter the better, right?
Oh yeah, coons love anything
I like
sweet.
sugar.
Grape jelly works. And I'll tell you a little deal. I didn't tell that. One year on the White River up there, before they put them darn generators on there and screwed up my trapping. And they did, believe me, because now the water goes. Step before the water would be here, then it'd be about 6 inches, and then about 6 inches, and then it'd drop back down. They'd do it on a regular basis. Well, they put them darn generators in there, them hydros on them 3 dams, and now it's like, water running over the dam, it's 5 foot below the backside of it, or it's 10 foot above it. I mean, it's just crazy the way they do it. Before, I could set these buckets up on the bank at the high level watermark. If I knew I had enough bank here, I could set these. And I had this one bucket sitting there, and it was facing the water. And every time I'd come back, there'd be a set of coon tracks going right by that bucket. They wouldn't go in it. They're not going in that bucket. I catch them in them all the time on this road. Every time. And it was more than one coon because they were different sizes. So about the 3rd or 4th run, I thought, I got to see what's going on here. So I slowly idled my boat down the river. And there's a big old hackberry tree. They were going to that hackberry tree and they wasn't letting nothing stop them. So I brought some old grape jelly back with me. The next time, throw the big wad back of that bucket. Coon, 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 coon. Because they were eating a fruit type bait. So the grape jelly, right in the bucket they go. So you got to, coons are really funny. They get on a food source, they're not going to leave it. They will not leave it until they deplete it. When it's gone, then they'll move to the next one. But if there's a food source for a raccoon, he's going to stay there until he's depleted it. That's why these city coons, they'll go to them dumpsters and stuff, and you'll see them videos on Facebook, TikTok, of them old big coons, and there's some of them coons look like how they walk, I don't even know. I mean, they're just big old roly-poly things. That's because they're eating good. And a raccoon's opportunistic, and that's what he'll do. He's going to eat. If there's food, that's where he's going to stay at. He's going to stay where that food source is. And a lot of people don't realize raccoons will eat acorns. They'll eat, crayfish. They'll eat little birds. Whatever they can get, that's a food source. That's what they're going to eat. So that's one of these buckets that are real effective around the deer feeders. Throw some dry cat food with a little fish oil on it at the back of them. I did try some of that cherry, just smeared it up in the top of the bucket and didn't put nothing else in it, just a few leaves in the back. I caught coons on it. Now that's something I always do, is I always throw a few leaves in the back of that bucket. Why do you think I do that?
I attract them.
I don't want him to see that bait. I want him to know it's there, but I don't want him to see it. Because if he sees it, they'll tend to want to do this. And I've had some of them caught by the front shoulder. That's how I learned to cover that up. I learned if you covered that bait up, they can't see it, so now they're going to shove their head in there trying to figure out where it's at with their nose.
What is this trap called?
A 160 conibear. And this one here is a what they call a DP trap, or a dog trap. Now my buckets, I get all my buckets. Y'all got chicken houses around? Find out, hey Buck. Find out who is doing the rat and mice control for the chicken houses. They'll have them buckets. A lot of them chicken houses will have the white square buckets laying around. You can get them. But I get them. They'll pile them up for me, and I can go by and pick up 10 dozen of them at a time if I want. So you just have to clean them out. They'll have a little bit of rat poison usually in the bottom of them. You spray them out with a water hose. So, but you can get them, and all I do is just notch them with a jigsaw. Take a jigsaw and notch them down to right there. And then when I put that trap in, When I put that trap in, I put it like this. Now some people like to set that trap like that right there, and they like to have that trigger just hanging straight down to the side. I actually prefer it like this, and the reason I do this is two things. One, I'll suitcase them. The other one, I'll put a little stickers, always usually stick in the woods I can lay there or something. The other reason I do this is where I trap at, those guys will leave me duck carcasses. And I can put a duck carcass in the back of this legally because it can't be seen from the air. And I'll catch bobcats in these. They will
With
stick,
that?
yes, they will stick their head in there. I've caught 2 coyotes in buckets.
They had it on camera, didn't they?
Yeah, they had one bobcat on that camera, stuck his head in there 5 times before he got caught.
Wow.
The guys that own the duck
Don't
club,
take a
deer
picture
club.
of the way you did the trigger. I
And
didn't know we could use any kind of live bait like that.
they're not live, they're dead.
But I mean,
You can, as long as it can't be seen from the air or wave or wind action doesn't uncover it. That's like a, you know, it's, on these here, that duck is in here. Nothing from the air is gonna see that duck. Okay, they're just not gonna see it. And I'll even throw a handful of leaves in there to kind of help, you know, hide it even more. But that bobcat's gonna know what's in there. But I've caught 2 coyotes in them buckets on the river. And I know why I caught them. The one, the tracks told the story. It was on a sandbar. You can see the coyote tracks coming down through there, and all of a sudden it looked like he spun out. Because he was laid over here dead with that, how he got his head in there. The only way he could have got it, he had to jam it up in that bucket. But the bucket didn't have any bait in it. There was mice poop in it. I think there was a mouse in that bucket, and he heard him scurrying around in that bucket. I like not got trap off his head.
I bet.
I mean, it was on there. I thought, man, what am I gonna do? I took him home. I had to take him home, and finally I got it pried off of him. Yeah, he shoved his head right up in that bucket. I've had 2 of them do that.